Welcome back, everybody, to the Kansas City Royals franchise here in MLB The Show 21. In this episode, I will be doing the entire offseason, so we're going to look at free agents, we're going to look at possible trades in the offseason as well, trying to get better. And a lot of you guys were posting in the comment section of the last video saying you guys wanted to live stream it on YouTube. I heavily considered doing it on a live stream. However, I think in my past live stream videos for off seasons have a lot of opinions, have a lot of people getting mad that I don't take their opinions, which is fine because ultimately everybody has their own opinions and you guys want to see some progress. You want to feel like we're heading somewhere with this series. You want to feel like there's something to be excited about. There's certain players that you guys like that you want to see in a Royals uniform, or at least get some more love and get some more time in a YouTube series, which I totally get it. But, you know, once you start entertaining those ideas, then you start pissing people off, and that's just something that I don't want to do. I want you guys in this thing. I want you guys to be able to come in here and watch and hang out and have some fun with it. And I think, for the most part, I feel like we do a pretty good job here on the channel, trying to stay realistic with some of the moves, trying to do things that would be smart for the franchise and the direction that I feel like we need to go. So you guys have been around this series for, a couple weeks now, so you kind of have a good idea of what I feel like we need to do as a unit, as a franchise, and I feel like we're going to get there this off season. So with that, let's get right into the moves, guys. Let's take a look at a few things here. We'll take a look at the reviewing the staff. We'll take a look at getting into free agency, and let's get started. First things first, I do want to let you know that I do have your custom prospects all created, and we're taking a look at some of them here, like Carson Dubois from Louisiana, 18 years old, 60C. All of you guys were 60Cs from the open submissions. If you were drafted as a patron prospect, which I believe, let's see, so Boston had a patron prospect, Douglas Taylor. So this is where I kind of screwed up again. So there you go. Give me another feedback on that, right? So I screwed up again. But Douglas Taylor was actually drafted by the Rockies, and for the Rockies, the player here, Ronald Hampton, was drafted by the Red Sox. So I accidentally swapped them. The Rockies need all the help they can get. That's what one viewer said. So I agree with you. So the Rockies need all the help they can get. But as you see, patron prospects 75 overall, A potential, and some players here, such as Douglas Taylor, was a 65 B based on his patron rating. So if we take another look here at, let's see, San Francisco had a starting pitcher, Corey Haggerty, 18-year-old, 60C, and basically you guys could decide on what your two best attributes were going to be, like your basically your archetype. Are you going to be a power pitcher with a lot of break, or are you going to have a lot of control but a lot of break, so on and so forth, such as like a position player, like, let's see, this guy was one of my favorite ones to make here, Alan Soriano, 22, 60C. He's a power speed guy at first base, kind of a rare combination there. So his contact ratings are a little bit lower, his fielding ratings are a little bit lower, sacrificing those two categories or those two statistics, attributes, whatever word you want to use, for speed and power. So those are the two things he wants to focus on. Got to work on the other two aspects of his game. Let's see another player here, a catcher, Noah Fritz. So for example, Noah Fritz didn't have any speed and little fielding as a catcher, so he's got to work on this as an 18-year-old, but he wants to be a hitter, right? So he's all contact, he's all power. So basically, I have to do what I have to do inside the create a player mode in order to get you to a 60 overall rated player. So however I have to do that, whatever categories I got to sacrifice to get you there, that's how I got to get you to give you a 60C. 18 years old, you're going to be in this series for a long time. So you got a lot of room to grow and a lot of room to improve. So guys, don't worry about your player right now. Don't think they suck. They're a project. It's all open submission, right? You got to work on it. You got to have your guy be a project guy. Every draft needs them. And those are just examples of some of the guys that are going to have to work on their craft. So with that being said, guys, let's go over and look at the staff that we ended up signing back here. We did not approach some of the guys that left us, so I wanted to improve the staff, and we got a hitting coach, Eric Duncan, pitching coach, Pedro Ament, and first base coach, Kyle Bottlebergs. And it's kind of funny because if you notice something here, all the guys that we signed are making more money than Mike Matheny. So that's kind of funny to me because we had to go get these guys. They're really good they're really good coaches, I should say. And I really wanted to go get these guys, especially with our young pitching staff. Pedro Ament was a guy that I had to have. Walks per nine, stamina control, I had to have that. Plus, we've got young players in the field, especially in our middle infield, right? I know first base coach is more, read and reaction, basically for your base running guys and things of that nature. But I know that we definitely want to have our fielding get a little bit better here. Plus, stealing and speed definitely plays a factor with the field, right? Bobby Witt Jr., I'm looking at you getting better in the field there. Obviously, speed ratings will go up. That'll help him get to baseballs in the gap. He's already got good arm strength there. Nicky Lopez, for example, might be a guy that would be good for this. We got a couple guys that we drafted as well. So, yeah, stealing, speed, durability, all that's good for Bottlebergs. I like that addition. And then, of course, the hitting coach here, +3 power. We're not going to be a bunting team, so discipline, vision, and power, that was obviously something I really valued. So that is your new coaching staff for the Kansas City Royals going into 2022. And for the long haul, guys, we got 3 years with Matheny left. We got 4 for Duncan, 3 for Ament, and 3 for Bottleberg. So these guys are going to be around for quite some time. Moving on to arbitration, we've got Brad Keller and Ryan O'Hearn. And 2 guys that I wanted to see how they were going to do down the stretch. So obviously Brad Keller was having a really rough second half. He was doing really well for us in the very beginning, which is kind of why I would consider bringing him back. Over the course of his career, he's always been consistent. He's logged 140 innings in 2018, 165. Pretty decent, solid numbers. Obviously, you want those lower, but those are solid numbers. Just did not have a good year last year, and it might have been a factor on when we pulled all of our starters, mainly Carlos Santana at first. We also traded away, we traded away Mike Minor, which gave him a little bit of protection in the rotation. So Brad Keller basically had to move up and pitch against better pitchers. He wasn't a bottom of the rotation guy. He had to pitch against better pitchers and probably was trying to do too much, trying to press a little bit. But he did have 12 quality starts. Ryan O'Hearn, let's take a look at his season-ending numbers. Take a look at the progression there. So contact against righties was up 7. Contact against lefties, I don't think I'm ever going to play him against lefties. That's the thing. 28 contact, that's just not good. But I like the idea of mixing and matching McBroom and O'Hearn at first base, platooning each other. So McBroom plays against lefties, O'Hearn plays against righties, so on and so forth. And he ended up hitting 225 with 12 homers, right? I think we covered that before, but I like Ryan O'Hearn right now. I think he's going to be pretty solid for us. And especially after I was talking how he might not fit in with us, I think he will end up fitting in with us. So I think $2 million a year, $2 million a year for Ryan O'Hearn here at a 72. It can kind of buy us some time if there is a first baseman that comes along that can really be that franchise changer, and we'll just play it by ear. First base, we'll just play it by ear. But Brad Keller, I think, well, his offer right now is 3.3 for arbitration. So if we can make an offer that might be a little bit less, if we offer him like 2 years, we'll knock this down a little bit, see what we can do. So you basically can get Keller for 2 more seasons at 4.8, or we can offer him arbitration. So I think that's probably the route we're going to take. Is I want to do like, let's see, what was it before? I think it was 4.2, right? So 4.2, well, 2 years at 4 point what? So you're basically paying a little bit extra for him, right? So to lock him in for 2 years, We can say you're going to be in the rotation, Brad. We can get you up to 4.8. So you're basically locking him in for 2 more years. And you're paying just a little bit extra. So is he going to get better? I hope so. He's 6'5", B potential, 75 right now. I would like to bring him back. Considering what I've already looked at here in free agency. So obviously there's some big bats. Some big bats available. There's some decent pitchers available. But they're old. They're old. And that's the biggest thing right now. So Syndergaard is probably the best pitcher that's here, considering age and considering probably money right now. Kershaw, 34. Lance Lynn, 34. There's Syndergaard again. 37, Max Scherzer. 29, Rodon. So between Rodon and Syndergaard, that's probably your best bet. Danny Duffy, 33. JV, 38. Alex Wood, 31. James Paxton, 33. Carlos Martinez, 30. Wade Miley, 35. You guys get the idea, right? You can just see the names up here. That now once we start getting into the mid-70s, which doesn't do me any good for where we're at with a pitching staff, you know, you start digging into this and you're like, man, we just don't really have a lot of options. So, you know, a guy like Kershaw is asking for $19.3 million a year. And he's not too interested in what we are bringing to the table. A guy like Lance Lynn, 21.1. So he's asking for more money than Clayton Kershaw. Noah Syndergaard would fit right in with what we're trying to do. He's 28, but he's asking for 23.8 as well. So maybe we might want to wait till next season after we see year 2's progression with our young staff, see where we're at, and then go after a top-of-the-line starter going from there. But let's take a look at what Danny Duffy's asking for. So he's asking for 9.7. That's not terrible compared to what these other dudes are asking for. That's not bad. That's really not bad. But we are going to have to up that if we did want to bring him back. He's going to be more around the $11 million range. And what I think I want to do with the pitching staff this season is go after just a couple veteran type of arms, like, I don't know, maybe Johnny Cueto. I think he would be perfect for what we're trying to do in this staff. Not only did he win a World Series for Kansas City in 2015, so 6 years ago, it would be 7 years ago in 2022. 7 years ago, he could come back. He could come back to Kansas City and offer some advice, some culture, right, with Salvador Perez, with this young pitching staff. I think we need to go after Johnny Cueto. How much money is he asking for? 7.3 for 2 seasons. I don't think that's that bad compared to what we would be getting with Danny Duffy at 9 point. Actually, it would be about 11. It was about 11.1. I think it makes sense for us to go after Johnny Cueto. Plus, if we can get him into the rotation and offer like 7.3 for 2 seasons, if you can grab a guy like Johnny Cueto and give us, just eat some innings for us a little bit, take the load off the young staff, I think that makes a lot of sense. So we'll go after Johnny Cueto. And what I also want to do, kind of funny, right? I was just talking about giving more innings to the young pitching staff, but I think we can afford a guy like James Paxton. Look at this. Not only did we lose a lefty in Duffy and we lost a lefty in Mike Minor, if we go out and we go grab James Paxton at 6.6, maybe 6.6, right? 6.6. We have officially, if we can grab these guys, you officially get James Paxton and Johnny Cueto, 2 relatively good starters. They would be top of the line starters for us. Brady Singer is still your ace. You can kind of move Brad Keller down. You can move Lynch down. You move Lacey down if he wants to be in the starting rotation. Get Kowar in the bullpen and get him some innings there at 24 years old. And we still maintain our young pitching staff, right? And for Paxton, he's only around for 2 more seasons. Cueto, he's around for 2 more seasons. I think we can afford that. Plus, where we're at with this Royals team as it is, if these guys pitch very well, you could again take these guys with that good potential, the good B potential there, and you can move them away and move him on to a contender this season. I think it's a smart move. I think it's a really smart move. And again, with this young staff, what you can do, you can see where we're at. You get Paxton, you get Cueto, you get Singer, you get Keller, you get Lynch, and that'd be your 5. You get Junis in the pen, you get Keller in the pen. Well, Keller would be like your number 4, but you guys see what I'm thinking here? You get your young pitching staff some help with 2 top of the line, used to be aces. And then if they pitch really well, you can move on from them in September, or July, I should say, and then get your September guys, get your second half guys, your young dudes who don't have a lot of wear and tear in their arms, and give them the full go in the rotation in July, August, September, finish the season out. I think it's smart. I think it's safe. I think it's realistic in that sense, and I think we can give that a go. I think we'll go after those dudes and see what happens. Paxton and Cueto, 2 guys that I think we can afford. All right, guys, so with offers, we have a ton of offers that we offered here. So it's pretty much bringing back the core. We got $12.1 million in pending offers right now. We're trying to bring back Stelmont, Bubic, Mejia, Witt Jr., Lacey, McBroom, Melendez, Mendoza. You know, the usual suspects here, right? It's hard to really let go of Bubba Starling, man. I mean, if he's going to be down in the minor leagues, you might as well have a guy that's going to get you 54, 62 contact, and the defense is amazing, right? So if we ever need a defensive guy in a pinch, he would kind of be my dude. So you can kind of see the list here. There's just a lot of guys. It happens every year in the show in the offseason. Just a lot of dudes that you want to bring back for your minor league depth. They're always at 1-year deals, so those are the guys we're trying to bring back. So a couple people that I did not try to bring back would be like Max George, a 57D, 25 years old. Jake Brentz, a 26-year-old C, 57. I don't know. I think we can maybe do a little bit better with his empty spot. Darren Blanco. Now, his defense is decent, but he's 27, is 64. You know, outfielder, I feel like we're going to probably address outfielders with that I like, you know, down the road here. But you can see that there weren't many people that we didn't want to bring back. So, for the most part, tender contracts was really trying to get guys to come on back here, get the core, and we'll figure out free agency. Let's take a look at first base here real quick. Because right now, with our roster at first base, we have a 72 overall O'Hearn, and we have a 71 overall McBroom. Obviously, like I mentioned, these guys are 28 years old, and you're being a little cheap. We're being a little cheap on first base front right now. For the price and the ability to mix and match with their pretty solid statistics, right? So you play one guy against lefties, one guy against righties, so on and so forth. So I don't think that we're interested in Freddie Freeman. He's 32, right? I don't think that we're close. I think if you had a couple veteran arms back there and you had a good pitching staff, then you're not wasting Freddie Freeman's remaining of his years, right? If you go to a guy like Anthony Rizzo who wants a little bit less, maybe you could make that make sense too, but I can't make that one make sense either. Ryan Zimmerman, just 37 years old, and I don't see where he fits into what we're trying to do. You got Justin Smoke here, again, that kind of does what our other first basemen do at this point, so I just don't see us really addressing first base, at least in this free agent class. Wilmer Flores could help us offensively as well. Defensively, how does he compare to Hunter Dozier, right? So we've got mid-70s, 66, 68, visions in 80, high 60s, 59, 67. I want to take a look at Wilmer Flores' numbers compared to Hunter Dozier. So kind of just put that in the back of your mind here when we're looking at Hunter Dozier. So I'm interested to see what Hunter Dozier is offering us, right? So pretty similar, although the vision's a lot better. The contact's a little bit worse. So it's kind of just, it's one of those deals, you know. He hit 17 home runs, 64 ribbies, do you possibly consider adding a guy like Wilmer Flores, who hit 275 last year, 13 home runs, 62? It's a good question to ask. I mean, he doesn't play outfield. He's more of that infield only type of guy. Shortstop's a tough one for us because I don't see. It really is tough, because if you do sign one of these guys, you almost have to either move one of them over to third, or you have to move Mondesi over to second or something like that and do some shifting around. But there's some pretty decent shortstops here in this class. We got Baez, we got Trevor Story. This would be an absolute splash deal if we could land a guy like Trevor Story, right? 29 years old, 99 contact, can do everything, right? 257, 34 homers. Had a really good season. That would really help us out. You could move Simmons over to third. He'd probably be a nice little cheaper option for us. Corey Seager, would he be interested in signing with the Kansas City Royals right now? I mean, he's not interested in re-signing with the Dodgers. That's for dang sure. Carlos Correa, pretty lukewarm with the Houston Astros. Baez, pretty lukewarm with the Cubs. How much money do you dole out for Baez, who hit 226 last year? $7 million. $7 million for Javier Baez. Wow. That definitely helps out our offense. Now, the contact numbers, obviously, right? 226. That's already what Hunter Dozier gave us anyway. But look at the defense and the power numbers, right? He's bound to do better than Hunter Dozier. I might consider this. I might consider grabbing Javier Baez in this situation. Now, if we knock him down to 3 years, how much money can we... I mean, would you rather have Andrelton Simmons at this point, or would you rather have Javier Baez? I don't know. We would be paying him at least a little over $1 million difference, but we'd be grabbing Baez versus Simmons. That's a very, very interesting development there. Very, very interesting development. You could even, we could even move Hunter Dozier out to right field, right? We sign a third baseman. We get somebody in here to play third. Dozier could play in the outfield. Like, you're paying a nice little cheapy outfielder, right? 6.3 million for Hunter Dozier playing third for us. So he's making about $1 million less than Javier Baez would. Yeah. So maybe that's the play, guys. Maybe that's the play. We move Hunter Dozier out to right. We get Soler to play DH. And then basically your outfield is pretty much set out there. And I think Dozier has some pretty decent speed. Not terrible speed. Yeah, he's got 65 speed. So maybe right field and the outfield is where he should go. So looking at this a little further with Whit Merrifield, first, third, outfield. 53 arm, but fielding's pretty solid, right? So if you do move Whit Merrifield to third base, it's just the arm strength is not totally there. It's not going to get the job done at third base, I don't think. And looking at Hunter Dozier, who is currently playing third, has a 70 arm, and a lot of times there's times in gameplay where I'm thinking like, man, is that throw going to get there? I don't see Whit Merrifield at third base right now, and maybe he's a guy that can go to left field or right field as well. So, there's just options for us with Whit. Maybe we bring in Javi Baez and we can shift Mondesi over to second. He can still play Gold Glove caliber defense out there at second base. Maybe he is supposed to be our second baseman, and Javi can play short. Especially trying to go after a guy like Marcus Semien. He plays second base, third base, shortstop, right? So if you go out and you grab a guy like Semien who's asking for 3.7, who's a little on the cheaper end, but you got to pay him a little bit to get over here, you'd be paying him $5 million for 2 years. Is he going to provide you some decent offense? Yes. Is he going to provide you a lot of batting average? No. This is nothing that Semien's ever done. And he's basically Whit Merrifield right now, but without the offense. Like, look at the arm at 51, 76, 79. It's basically the same player. So Semien doesn't make much sense to us. Escobar might make a little more sense to us to play third. He could do that. Only asking for 2.7. So actually, Marcus Semien is not our guy. It's Eduardo Escobar. He'd be perfect. Nice little cheap option. $3 million. He hit 222 last year, man. That's crazy. 222, 212. He doesn't do well in the show, apparently. Weird. The Division's 73. I'm a little weary about that. Can be a switch hitter as well. So I'm kind of leaning more towards Eduardo Escobar. If you want to make a splash, this might be the gets, in my opinion. Now, the vision's terrible. 39 vision. Like, yeah, Javier Baez, he is what he is, right? 226, 203. But there were years in real life that he did hit very well. 289, 273, 290, 281. It's just been ever since then, he's been getting a lot of strikeouts. He's been making a name for himself that he just constantly just whiffing, right? He's just swinging for the fences all the time, right? I really think Javi Baez could offer the punch that this lineup needs. I really do. The power, 83, 89. The fielding, we really value our defense here in Kansas City. Speed at 65. And Baez can play in the outfield too, a little bit. Center field specifically. He's made a couple starts out there in his career. But second, third, obviously primary shortstop. Very, very good shortstop. Again, do you go grab Javi Baez? Or do you grab Eduardo Escobar, who's just a little bit older, half the price, probably half the defense, basically kind of half the player, right? He's half the player Baez is. But he produced the same batting average and almost the same amount of home runs. It's just a tough call. It's a very, very tough call. But I know one thing's for certain. We absolutely need the punch. We need the firepower. We need a little momentum going on with us too. I think Javi Baez is the answer. So I'm going to offer him a 4-year contract so we can get him to 32 years old. And I'm gonna give him about 7.5 and say your role is the star. Every day goes down a little bit, so you are the star. And we're gonna offer that $7.5 million. And we're offering one less year from the Cubs and less money, and he says, I want to go to the Kansas City Royals. Guys, I think this is the move, man. I feel confident in this. I know a lot of people are, you're on one side of the aisle. You either love Javi Baez or you don't. But I think he's really good for this team. I really think he's good for this team. We can figure out what we're going to do with Mondesi. We can figure out what we're going to do with Whit Merrifield here and Dozier if he's affected. But I think this is the smart move. Clayton Kershaw going to the White Sox, so we have to worry about him. And there you go, baby. So we did get Javi Baez. He looks good in that Royals uniform, guys. I love it. And I think it's just a good addition. I really do. I'm confident in that decision. So let's see what's going on with Paxton. Nothing yet. Cueto, nothing yet. Couple news from around the league here. The Blue Jays, Tampa Bay, Cubs are still feeling each other out there with Syndergaard. No offers on Danny Duffy. No offers on JV. Yeah, so we'll just keep on going here. But Trevor Story might go to the Oakland Athletics. How weird is that? And, so Rizzo goes to the Rays. Lance Lynn with the Nationals. And we didn't sign anybody quite yet. So there's an update. You got Trent Grisham, Savali going back to their respective teams. And then Lance Lynn and Rizzo obviously going there. So Cueto is still up on the board. So we must have signed James Paxton. And we did. So we got James Paxton. That's awesome. Alex Wood goes to the White Sox. Let's take a look at what the White Sox are doing, man. So they got Wood, Vargas, Clayton Kershaw. Man, they've been going off. Let's take a look at our pitching rotation. And there he is. Yes. Perfect. So we'll get Jacob Junis back in the bullpen. So there's your look, guys. There's your look right now at the early look at the roster, at the pitching rotation for the Royals in 2022. We got Singer, Paxton, Cueto, Lynch, Keller, and then Bubic, Kowar, Junis, Barlow, Adams, Stelmont, Swarzak, Zimmer in the pen. I don't think we need this many bullpen arms, so somebody's got to get the call down to the AAA level, and we'll go from there. But as far as our lineup goes, we'll fix this up, but we definitely got to figure out from you guys, from assistance from you guys, where do we want to put Javier Baez, right? Do we want to put him at third, short, second? How's that going to play out with some of our other guys like Mondesi and Merrifield and so on and so forth, and Dozier and Soler? I think Soler is fine in DH spots. So if there's any big additions, so Trevor Story goes to the Milwaukee Brewers. Syndergaard is going to the Detroit Tigers. Wow, that's huge. That's huge for Detroit as a Detroit Tigers guy myself. But yeah, the AL Central is making some moves, guys. Not only did the White Sox acquire two really good pitchers in Kershaw, and I believe they got somebody else up there. Let's take a look at their team. Let's real quick. They got Kershaw. They got Kopech, who's really good now. He's up to an 84. Alex Wood they signed to, so they are making a big push in the Central, and I think Detroit was feeling that a little bit. So they also got Max Scherzer. That's hilarious. They bring back Mad Max. So they got Syndergaard and Max Scherzer. That's awesome. Go Tigers, man. Go Tigers. That's perfect, dude. Look at them. So they got Syndergaard, Scherzer, Boyd, Turnbull, Casey Mize. Yeah, they're going for it, man. They're going for it. This is a team we got to watch out for, right? Torkelson, Cabrera, Scope, Candelario, Castro. So their offense, still leaving a little bit left to be desired, but that pitching staff is going to be nuts. All right, so we got an update. Carlos Correa signs with the Giants, and we are here at the Rule 5 draft. And let's just go right into it. I don't think we have any picks because we did have some people that I think we gave up our Rule 5 right because we signed some people that have qualifying offers. So we'll take a look here and see if we lost anybody. Ooh, I saw a custom prospect. So we must have taken over a player that was part of that Ride and Rosters update. So, let's go back here. So we got Biddle, Jordan Yamamoto, Dom T. Williams, Jeffrey Springs, Casey Schmidt, Dennis Santana, Aiden Oliver. Aiden Oliver. He was with the Baltimore Orioles. He got drafted by the Orioles. And he's you can see we had to update his numbers, right? So you have to take over the player that's drafted and whatever, and you got to edit them down, right? So plus 33, plus 31, that's where that comes into play. But man, so drafted by the Orioles, and then now he has to go over to the Miami Marlins. So, interesting. Guys, take a look. We got a trade. The Cardinals acquire Perez from the Indians. So they give up Delvin Perez and Andre Pallant for Roberto Perez. It's a pretty interesting trade. Corey Seager is going to go to the Cubbies. It's a good addition for them. So trying to go grab a guy like Chad Kuhl, 6.2 for 2 years. It's about 3.1. He'd be a guy that would fit right in nicely with the AAA system at a 71. And, Chad Kuhl's a pretty decent pitcher, right? I mean, he's consistent. 4.8, 4.2, 4.5, 4.3. You know what you're going to get out of Chad Kuhl. You're going to get some decent control. You're not going to have a ton of walks there. You're going to have some decent numbers of strikeouts, but Chad Kuhl's not going to move the needle per se, but he's a decent pitcher. All right, guys, so today is the last day for offering contracts in the offseason. We have no renewable contracts, and as far as guys in the free agency, there's just nothing really there anymore. I took a look at some dudes that I thought about, maybe like Billy Hamilton for the speed coming off the bench, maybe Joe Panic, but figured we got a pretty loaded infield as it is, and why crowd the room even further, right? And we got some pretty decent players in the minor leagues at the minor league level as well, like Mejia. We got Nicky Lopez too. That's going to be our backup. So it's like, why overload it? Plus, we already addressed getting Baez up here. We got Bobby Witt in the wings. Jason Guzman's a decent player at 22. Mondesi, of course, Mondesi. But yeah, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to crowd that room on the bench. So this is what our team looks like, and we're gonna go with it, man. We're gonna go with it. So we're at our 26 man right now, and I'm gonna let the CPU do the spring training call-ups and the send-downs, because dudes, I tell you what, it is a nightmare trying to manage that. Our team right now looks like this. We got Brady, Singer, Paxton, Cueto, Keller, Lynch, Bubich, Adams, with Lacey, Cool, Boz, and Cavalli being your Triple H starters, and then Jackson Kowar in the bullpen that can kind of be a flex option. You got Kyle Zimmer is going to be our closer, Barlow, Junis, Swarzak, plus of course you had Kowar moving into the relief spot. And then you got Stalmont as the setup / closer. Just depends on how he's going to perform in 2022. Based on how he did in 2021, I mean, he might be able to step right into that role. I know last season early on we had to move him out of the closing role, back to setup, back to closing, so he's been kind of moving all over the place, but we'll see how he does. Salvi is going to be our primary catcher again this season. He's seen a little bit of regression, not much, but hopefully he hits better than 201 this season. That was just a bad year, but Mabry's Valoria in limited time was very good. 275 for bombs in 51 at-bats. I like Valoria. He should be a good bench guy to be that catcher for us, but this is interesting. Didn't catch this one. Ryan McBroom is going to start for us at the AAA level, and we're going to give Ryan O'Hearn the job at first. Now, of course, this is all pending on what they do in spring training, of course. So if somebody has a really good spring training, it's kind of like you can't just leave them down there, right? But so far, coming out of the offseason, this is what our team looks like. And of course, I'll update you guys what we do in spring training. But Nicky Lopez backing up Whit Merrifield at second. Third base, Dozier, Alberto backing up Dozier at third, Baez at short, Mondesi at short. So again, leave it in the comments, guys. I want to hear from you on this. What do you think we should do with the Baez Mondesi thing, considering Dozier, considering Merrifield? What do you guys want to do about that? Andrew Benintendi, Taylor, Naquin, Soler rounding out the outfield. I'm very positive that Soler is going to be our designated hitter this season. He's not going to be spending a lot of time out there in right field. So that's what the lineup looks like, guys. That's what the team looks like, and I think we're good. So let's go into spring training, and this is the move that we had to do. And again, the CPU is very aggressive in your waiver claims, man. So we had to move Tyler Zuber off the 40 man, and they ended up claiming him. So yeah, so congrats, Pittsburgh, you a-holes. But let's take a look at who our 40 man roster looks like for spring training. I believe it's everybody up on the 40 man roster as it is. So yes it is. So we don't have any surprises. You guys kind of are familiar with the team as it is, and again, I won't play any spring training games until you guys let me know what you want to do with the roster. So that is all I got for you guys. Leave a like if you like this thing, and I will see you in spring training action as we go up against Justin Verlander. Interesting. Remember, we were just talking about JV and how he didn't get any offers. So am I going to regret not giving him a contract? We'll have to find out in spring training, guys. So leave a like if you like this thing. Again, post your comments and feedback and opinions in the comment section below. I will make sure to read those, guys, and have a good rest of your week. I will see you later on this week for more Royals action. As always, thank you for watching, and peace.